Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Midday News on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Mukhtar Kasim. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times 276. We begin from the House of Representatives, where the House of Representative Committee on Anti-Corruption, led by Honorable Kayode Moshood Akiolu, has launched a probe into the effectiveness of Anti-Corruption and Transparency Unit, ACTUS, embedded in over 400 ministries, departments and agencies, and allegations that some have lost relevance or been compromised. At a public hearing in Abuja, Akiolu questioned whether the ACTUS, originally introduced in 2001 by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, to decentralize anti-graft oversight, still serve their intended purpose in curbing internal corruption. Civil society organizations, whistleblowers and public officials are expected to testify as the House evaluates potential reforms or restructuring of the ACTU model. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives is pushing for the establishment of a new technical and vocational college across the country as part of efforts to tackle Nigeria's high youth unemployment. Lawmakers say equipping young people with practical skills is crucial to addressing the mismatch between education and the job market. National Assembly correspondent Anita Patrick has details.
At a public hearing in Abuja, the House Committee on Federal Polytechnic and Higher Technical Education emphasized the need for innovative strategies to empower young Nigerians. Chairman of the committee, Fred Lagunda, says the goal is to equip youths with hands-on training, technical expertise, and entrepreneurial skills that match today's workforce demands. The hearing focused on 3 bills: the proposed Federal College of Entrepreneurship and Skills Acquisition in Zaki Biam, Benue State, the National Institute for Technical and Vocational Education in Borogo, Bauchi State, and the Federal Vocational and Skills Acquisition College in Ilaro, Ogun State. Lagunda says these institutions will promote self-reliance and economic growth by producing skilled technicians and mid-level professionals.
They seek to promote entrepreneurship studies and skill acquisition to empower Nigerians with the skills to become employable, create jobs, and excel anywhere, particularly in their various constituencies.
Declaring the hearing open, Speaker of the House, Tajuddin Abbas, represented by Awalu Gwandabe, says over 55% of Nigerian youths are unemployed or underemployed, largely due to a disconnect between formal education and the labor market.
We must therefore equip our youth with practical skills that will enable them to thrive in an ever-evolving technologically driven job market.
The House says the bills align with its legislative agenda and will improve access to quality technical education nationwide. Anita Patrick, reporting for Global TV.
The National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives has suspended its 7-day warning strike following an emergency meeting where its national executives reviewed a signed MOU with the federal government. The association's president, Haruna Mamman, confirmed that the strike was halted after both parties reached a time-bound agreement addressing all 9 of the union's demands, including allowances and welfare. Health Minister Mohammed Pati had announced that the strike had been resolved after it crippled operations in government hospitals nationwide. The Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) has rejected the newly unveiled National Industrial Relations Policy approved by the Federal Executive Council on July 31st, warning it aims to criminalize strikes and silence unions. In a strongly worded statement, NLC President Joe Ajaero said the policy infringes on constitutionally guaranteed labour rights and targets industrial actions unfairly. Ajaero recalled that previous attempts to include anti-strike clauses in the draft were opposed by labour and industry stakeholders, calling the final version reprehensible and anti-workers. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has confiscated banned, fake and expired goods worth more than 1.5 billion naira during a sweeping enforcement operation at Lagos Trade Fair Cosmetic Market led by the Director of Enforcement, Dr. Martins Liumide. The agency said it also intercepted a truckload of counterfeit regulated product and uncovered warehouses filled with expired items being sold to the public. NAFDAC described the raid as part of a broader national campaign to eliminate harmful consumer products and uphold public health standards across the country. Now, Abuja is a city meant to reflect order and modern development. The sight of cows roaming freely on major roads in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, is raising eyebrows. Residents are questioning how cattle continue to move about in urban centers where open grazing is officially discouraged. Our correspondent, Ubong Usoro, brings us details of this report.
Abuja is Nigeria's capital. Sadly, you see cows moving freely on the roads, even near the National Assembly. The Federal Capital Territory Administration has publicly discouraged open grazing within Abuja for several years. The FCT, being the seat of federal government, is expected to serve as a model for urban order and policy enforcement. Official statements from FCTO, especially since 2021, have emphasized a transition to ranching and restricted movement of cattle within the city center. However, there is no specific federal law that criminalizes open grazing nationwide, including in Abuja. Instead, enforcement depends on administrative measures and area councils' bylaws. Despite policy declarations, open grazing continues in many parts of Abuja, even around high-profile areas such as Airport Road, Gwarimpa, Sokoro, and Central area.
The issue of cattle roaming the streets of Abuja is quite unfortunate, and I think it's something the government really needs to look into. The current trends that has to do with cattle rearing globally is ranching. I think what we lack in the country currently is the political will to do that.
For me, I feel it's an environmental threat, because when they move around, you see them dropping their dogs everywhere, and also it's not safe for motorists and passerbys, and the government needs to look into it. Abuja Environmental Protection Board and the Ministry of Health and Environment should also come together and do something about it.
A motorist who spoke to us complained bitterly about the discomfort caused by these cows on the road.
If I'm driving, see cow inside the town, it is payment, living payment, something like here is a capital. Even though it's not a capital, even though a state, it's a city of state. The cow is not supposed to be crossing TT express like this. The thing is payment. So unfortunately, Minister of Abuja is supposed to do something about it.
The FCT minister pledged to end open grazing and announced plans to allocate lands for ranching within the 6 area councils. However, it seems this has been discontinued.
To see how we will stop. Because we cannot allow cows inside the city. They can be outside the city. What is it supposed to be done? Because the grasses are outside the city. The grasses are not here. These are grasses planted to beautify the city. It is not that one that they will eat.
As residents continue to express frustration, the question remains, how long will Abuja, Nigeria's capital city, continue to host cows on its streets? For now, the animals continue to share the roads with vehicles and pedestrians unhindered. Ubong Usoro for Global TV.
The Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, has condemned Governor Umar Bago's shutdown of Badegi 90.1 FM in Niger State, calling it executive rascality and an unlawful attack on press freedom. NBA President Afam Osigwe, in a statement, urged the police and relevant authorities to disregard the order, warning that such actions violate democratic norms and constitutional rights. The governor had cited incitement and unethical broadcast as reasons for the closure, But the NBA insists regulation must follow due process under the law, not arbitrary flight. Meanwhile, Amnesty International and the family of missing activist Abubakar Idris, known as Daddy Yatta, have criticized the Nigerian government's continued silence and inaction 6 years after his mysterious abduction in Kaduna State. At a press conference, Amnesty Nigeria Director Issa Sanusi described the case as a symbolic of a broader crackdown on dissent, accusing security agencies of neglect and issuing weightless promises. He warned that the pattern of enforced disappearance sent a chilling message to activists nationwide and called on President Bola Tinubu to launch an independent investigation. You're watching the live broadcast of Midday News. When Midday News returns, the Tigress defeats Senegal to reach Afrobasket final. Details coming shortly, plus business and foreign stories on the other side of this break. Stay with us. You're welcome back from that break, and if you're just tuning in, this is the live broadcast of Midday News coming to you on Global Television. And now to business news. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, says the compressed natural gas policy is central to Nigeria's energy transition agenda. Speaking at an investigative hearing in Abuja, the House raised critical questions on the pace, safety and impact of the compressed natural gas policy rollout. Our correspondent, Anita Patrick, completes the report.
Of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas says Nigeria's compressed natural gas policy is not just about clean energy, but a pathway to energy security and economic diversification. Represented at the hearing by Sada Soli, the Speaker told the Ad Hoc Committee on CNG policy implementation that while the initiative offers a cleaner and cheaper alternative to petrol, Nigerians must feel its benefits.
The essence of this public hearing stated as it reflects our legislative commitment to transparency, accountability, and effective policy implementation.
Chairman of the committee, Ahmed Jaha, described the policy as bold but warned that it could fail without transparency and effective oversight. He listed key concerns, including uneven distribution of conversion centers, safety issues, and lack of public awareness, urging data-backed submissions from stakeholders.
My concern is the infrastructure that will be available to service these cars that are converted. Sustainability is the most important thing.
Project Director of the Presidential CNG Initiative, Michael Oluwagbemi, says 300 conversion centers now exist in 24 states, up from just 7. He noted that 2 staff had been dismissed from misconduct, reaffirming the initiative's zero tolerance for corruption.
You agree with me that if we had started awarding contracts to build conversion centers, we will probably not have 20 of them in Nigeria today in 12 months, because they will have to go to tender, they will do the bureaucracy, money will not come out, and you know how that story evolves.
The Ministry of Petroleum, NNPCL, Federal Road Safety Corps also threw their weight behind the CNG transition and urged the National Assembly to legislate certification standards, train inspectors, and strengthen compliance across the country. Anita Patrick, reporting for Global TV.
Now, in a country where the internet connects millions to jobs, education, health, and other opportunities, the rising cost of data may become a setback to national development. The galloping cost of internet connectivity, which affects nearly every Nigerian, the silent impact might be unimaginable if proper policies are not put in place to regulate the sector. Our correspondent, Sadia Yakubu, takes a look at the high cost of data and its impact on Nigerians.
Today is no longer news that Nigerians are struggling to survive in the midst of numerous economic challenges, with mobile network operators in the country systematically passing on operating costs of data consumers. In addition, the sudden increase on the cost of data subscription has gradually but steadily driven business, particularly those in the micro and small brackets, to the bricks. At the height of this, questions are being asked to determine major factors driving this astronomical cost increase. We speak to a cross-section of Nigerians on the streets who share their views and experiences on this issue.
See, it's not easy for us. So, if, like 2 years back or 3 years back, when I use data, they enjoy the data. If you even buy like 5,000, you go use and they do watch YouTube, watch this. But now, just like I said, that they use straw, they suck the data.
Telecommunications operators recently made a strong case for an upward review of tariff cutting across calls, text messaging, and internet data services. These developments drawing criticism from subscribers as expected, seen at least 50% increase in this regard.
The cost is becoming so much that the normal Nigerian will not be able to afford. Please, the government should help us reduce it, and I think by that way, most little business that is trying to come up can go up.
Apparently, access to affordable internet is directly linked to economic growth, education, as well as success to robust healthcare services. It is often said that when people cannot afford data, they may not also be able to access knowledge, find remotely work, or sell online. As the maximum goes, the cost of data is the cost of opportunities.
It's crazy, especially when you're using an iPhone. The data finishes on time, but at least on Android it's still manageable. But an iPhone user, no.
The digital world is here, but how many Nigerians can truly afford to be part of it? The cost of data isn't just about Naira and Kobo. It's about access, equality, and the future. Let's push for a Nigeria where everyone can connect without going broke. Sadia Yakubu Yahya, Global Television.
The World Bank says it will likely approve a $250 million loan for Nigeria next month under its health security program aimed at improving the country's capacity to handle public health emergencies. The project will be managed by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and targets better disease prevention, detection, and regional collaboration amidst dire health statistics, including a 54-year life expectancy and over 800,000 annual child deaths. The bank also highlighted Nigeria's woeful low health spending, with 76% of healthcare costs borne by citizens, driving poverty and poor access. OPEC Plus is set to raise oil production by 548,000 barrels per day in September, continuing a month-long reversal of earlier cuts amidst geopolitical pressure and changing market dynamics. The move, which finalizes the unwinding of a prior 2.2 million barrel per day cut, comes as the group faces tension around Russian supply and shifting global demand. While voluntary cuts by some members remain in place through 2026, Sunday's discussion avoided further adjustment. On the foreign scene, President Donald Trump has reiterated United States support for Morocco's autonomy plan in Western Sahara, framing it as the only viable solution to the long-standing territorial dispute with the Polisario Front. Trump's statement aligns with the recognition granted during his first term under the Abraham Accords, which saw Morocco normalize ties with Israel. Algeria, backing Sahrawi Republic, continues to reject compromise and has boycotted United Nations mediated talks seeking resolution. A major fire has broken out at an oil depot in Sochi after Russian officials said a Ukrainian drone hit a fuel tank, prompting flight suspensions and a large emergency response. This attack was part of a broader weekend assault, with Ukraine reportedly launching over 90 drones as Russia struck back with a deadly missile barrage on Mykolaiv and Kyiv, injuring civilians and destroying homes. President Zelensky and United States President Donald Trump have both called for harsher sanctions on Moscow, with Trump now giving Russia a tight new deadline to end the war. And now talking sport, Lionel Messi exited Inter Miami's 2-2 draw against Necaxa in the 11th minute with an apparent upper leg injury, clouding Miami's eventual penalty shootout win. The 38-year-old seemed in discomfort after a collision and later sat down unchallenged, prompting substitution and concern over a recurring groin or thigh injury. Coach Javier Mascherano said the severity would be known today, with Messi having contributed 18 goals and 9 assists in 18 MLS appearances this season. Away from football to basketball, where Nigeria's The Tigers came from behind to beat Senegal 7-5-6-8 and reached their 5th straight women's AfroBasket final in a dramatic showdown in Abidjan. Now, despite trailing by 8 in the final quarter, a spirited run led by Ezinne Kalu and Victory Macaulay sealed the win as Nigeria closed the game with a 10-3 scoring burst. The win extends Nigeria's dominance over Senegal, who haven't defeated them since 2011, setting up a final against either Mali or South Sudan. Now, middleweight contender Rene De Ryder has called out Israel Adesanya for a fight, praising the former champion legacy but challenging him amidst his current 3-fight losing streak. Adesanya, still eyeing a rematch with Sean Strickland, has expressed frustration over Strickland's silence, leaving the Nigerian-born fighter comeback plans in flux. Recently inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame for his 2019 war with Kelvin Gastelum, Adesanya is targeting a return between September and October this year. Now that's it on Midday News. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @Global TV NG. I am Mukhtar Kasim. Very big thank you for watching. Good afternoon.